Auburn police tonight are spreading the word that the panhandling must stop.
Police say they're breaking the law, but the panhandlers don't think so. News 13's Brad Rogers has more on our top story tonight.
I'm on disability and you can barely make it with what the government gives you.
Charles Breen has muscular dystrophy, but he's out panhandling in Auburn so he can buy Christmas gifts for his wife and 2 teenage children. Auburn police say he's also breaking the law.
The ordinance has been on the books for a while now.
However, that ordinance says nothing about panhandling. It's a solicitation ordinance which says no person representing charitable organizations shall be permitted to use the streets or sidewalks of the city for the purpose of soliciting funds without first obtaining from the chief of police a permit for such purpose.
Our interpretation of the ordinance is that an individual doesn't rise to the level of organization, so therefore individuals aren't allowed to solicit from the roadways.
They're making an assumption of what the law is. You can't make an assumption and create a law that benefits you at any given time.
Charles Breen says even if they did qualify, no panhandler in his right mind would spend $65 on one of these permits. Now when they don't make that in a whole day.
You don't get a lot of money. People get what they can, you know, out of the kindness of the heart, and the city wants to take more than you get.
Deputy Chief Moen says panhandlers also pose a safety risk to themselves and motorists.
We've had some complaints from motorists that people have been approaching them at intersections, making them feel uncomfortable and or having to go around them in the roadways.
I'm holding a sign and I wave to people, I smile at people, I help people cross the street. I don't know where I pose a threat.
Breen says as much as he needs the money, it's not worth going to jail.
I'm not going to take that chance. It's not worth it.
So for now, he says he'll stop, even if it means his kids do without it Christmas. In Auburn, Brad Rogers, News 13.
Well, several recent legal decisions have favored the homeless in their rights to panhandle.
Jobs are in jeopardy at St. Mary's as the hospital looks toward restructuring.
The hospital is eliminating positions, not filling open ones apparently, and preparing for layoffs. News 13's Catherine Underwood joins us with the story new at 6 tonight. And Catherine, do we know exactly how many workers are going to be affected by this?
Well, Kim and Greg, this is always tough to hear, especially just before the holidays. But as of right now, a hospital spokesperson says they're still unsure exactly how many people will lose their jobs. St. Mary's is calling this a very fluid situation as they try to place affected employees in other positions based on their skills. The hospital says the restructuring is necessary to prepare for reductions of main care reimbursements. As of today, St. Mary's says the state owes them $23 million for services dating back as far as 2009. The hospital says given the current economy, it can no longer absorb that outstanding debt. Now, we caught up with some St. Mary's employees this afternoon who told us they were surprised to hear about the restructuring.
No warning, no nothing. They found out today. So it was a little disturbing, I guess, from what I hear. Some people are really upset about it.
A lot of people are talking about the layoffs right now, and a lot of people are, you know, they're worrying about what they're going to be doing here in the future.
There are nearly 2,000 employees at St. Mary's. The hospital says the cuts and changes have been thoughtful and targeted rather than a simple workforce reduction. Greg, back to you.
All right, Catherine, thanks so much. Well, more breaking news tonight involving hospitals in Maine. News 13 has learned that the parent company of Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor has agreed to buy Mercy Hospital here in Portland. The two hospital groups have entered into what's called a joint non-binding letter of intent, which would set the stage for Mercy to be integrated into Eastern Maine healthcare systems. Now, you may recall Mercy had previously announced that they were entering into an agreement with a separate out-of-state for-profit healthcare company, but apparently that deal is off. This merger will make the new Mercy EMMC group the largest hospital group in the state.
Continuing coverage now of the Kennebunk prostitution case. Kennebunk police released the names of 2 more men that they say are on the infamous John's list. Police issued a summons for 46-year-old Jay Sanborn of Springvale and 49-year-old Ricky DeWitt of Lyman. Both are charged with engaging a prostitute and are due in court in February. That brings the number of names released up to 64. They're accused of paying Alexis Wright for sex at Wright's Zumba dance studio. Wright faces more than 100 charges, including prostitution and tax evasion. Police are investigating a deadly crash a little bit east of Augusta. The crash happened near Peasley's store near the Windsor-Jefferson town line. One person was killed, another seriously injured. No names have been released and police haven't determined a cause. Route 17 was closed for a short time after the crash, but is now back open tonight.
An elderly couple in Oakland is shaken and speaking out about a home invasion that cost them their prescription medications and their family's Christmas gifts. This happened at their home while the couple was asleep in their bedroom. News 13's Steve Roldan has their story.
Hello. I was ugly then. I was really, really ugly.
87-year-old Charlotte Lovejoy is angry after finding out her family's Christmas gifts were ripped off in a home invasion. Sitting next to her small Christmas tree, she can't believe why anyone would break in while she and her husband slept.
There's a lot of good people out there, and out of all the good people, you can find one that will really be bad, and it spoils it for so many people.
The thief, identified by police as 25-year-old Jason Horn, got prescription pills, a stun gun, and lots of Christmas presents. All that is left tonight, these two lone gifts. Horn is charged with burglary, theft, and criminal mischief. Police say he destroyed the gifts he stole.
This is where they broke in, right here.
Lovejoy showed us where the burglars got in. This is the second time they've been burglarized in the past 3 months.
Why would people pick on old people? You know, we've worked hard all of our life.
Despite what happened, Lovejoy says she's still in the holiday spirit.
They might have robbed me, but they haven't robbed my spirit of Christmas. I still have my spirit of Christmas. I still believe in Santa Claus, so that's it.
Charlotte says she's planning to be in the courtroom as the case goes to trial.
They messed with the wrong person.
They did. You know, I might be an old lady, but I got a big mouth. And, you know, I know how to use it. Ask anybody, they'll tell you.
People from around the neighborhood and around the country are pitching in to make sure the Lovejoys still have a great Christmas. In Oakland, Steve Roldan, News 13.
Firefighters respond to a fire that broke out at a housing complex right behind a popular sandwich shop in Windham. News 13's Marissa Bodner joins us live from the scene. And Marissa, we understand the owner of that store had to be rescued.
That's right. His name is Donato Corsetti, and employees at the store tell me he owns both the store and this apartment building. They're just about 40 yards apart from one another. He is expected to be okay. Hours later, still a lot of activity going on here. The fire marshal's office has its investigators inside the middle unit of this apartment complex. They're trying to determine exactly how this started. The flames were out when we got here earlier this afternoon, but we did talk to a student who saw this scene on his way to drop off a paper at school. Andrew Constantine sent us these pictures of bright orange flames shooting out of the middle unit in a 3-unit apartment building. Dark smoke was billowing up into the sky. Crews from Windham, Westbrook, and Raymond were able to get it knocked down in about an hour. The fire marshal's office says it appears to have started in the middle unit, which no one is currently living in. A family in the N unit was home, but fortunately they did get out safely. We saw one firefighter taken away on a stretcher. Constantine, he says he witnessed an intense, chaotic scene.
It seemed like the lower floor was mainly where the fire was located. It was coming out of the doors. It was breaking the fire was breaking the lower windows, and was making the upstairs windows very like foggy.
All right. Well, firefighters say a space heater caused the fire that destroyed a garage and threatened a man's home last night in Buxton. Crews were still on the scene this morning, putting out the flames from the fire at the Pine Tree Garage on Route 22. The fire broke out Thursday night around 8:30. The flames came close to a trailer on the property, but the trailer was spared and no one was hurt.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast.
So little daylight at this time of the year, we'd like to take advantage of every minute of it, especially during the holiday season. And I think with a little planning, you'll be able to get through the weekend without having a single raindrop fall on you. But again, a couple of caveats in that. First, we take you to Doppler radar, looking near and far and scanning our sky for the type of precipitation that's affecting the area. And yes, there's a few raindrops coming down in the greater Portland area. Temperatures safely above the freezing point to support liquid precipitation, meaning it's not icing on the ground yet. Any intensity of that rainfall will cool the air to the point that we could have a bit of ice or sleet. Such is the case in the interior from Lake Winnipesaukee north of the Mount Washington Valley, where there could be a few wet snowflakes tonight. But by and large, this is going to be a very minor effect, not much to it. It's the second storm coming up in the next 7 days. That occurring on Monday into early Tuesday is a bit more problematic with wind and rain. There's even a chance on Tuesday that we could see a little change back to snow if an ocean storm gets going to the east. That, again, not a guarantee, but something that will keep you informed about. Slippery roads tonight, yeah, here and there, but not particularly widespread. Icy, then wet late tonight as temperatures begin to head higher. In fact, they're already safely above freezing from Portland to Cape Elizabeth with a light wind off the ocean, and farther down east from Brunswick to Bath and New Harbor, mid-coast temperatures are in the 40s. And then we move westbound and we're entrenched in the 30s. The air is dry enough so any precipitation that comes down can form a very slick and very thin coating of ice, so please be careful on untreated surfaces this evening into late tonight, early tomorrow. We think that condition will improve, and tomorrow is just kind of a gray overcast day with temperatures above freezing. Sunday is turning brighter. That's going to be nice. Mount Washington Valley and farther north to Berlin and Gorham and on to the north in the Colebrook area, it's still below freezing. Just a minor disorganized little disturbance here on the northern fringe, a touch of snow from northeastern Vermont into the Mount Washington Valley into the eastern townships of Canada. That's all moving east. This west to east airflow will carry that precipitation out to sea tomorrow. Nighttime lows ranging from 31 in Portland to 25 in Freiburg, and Berlin, New Hampshire will be in the low 20s too. Afternoon highs tomorrow once any rain comes to an end, and we may see a little hint, a little dim sunshine tomorrow afternoon, and that will help temperatures hit about 43. Second little problem for our 7-day forecast is this innocent looking little area of snow in northern Minnesota. There's also some jet stream energy coming out of the southern Great Plains that will carry to the northeast, and so Monday into Tuesday we have a more vigorous storm to encounter, and that looks like it's going to be snow changing to rain, and we could be talking about 1 to 3 inches from the coast in particular inland before a change over to rain. Still several days down the line. We'll follow it carefully. Overnight low temperature averaging close to the freezing point. A solid overcast tomorrow. Otherwise, a light wind, temperatures close to 40, bit of drizzle here and there. And our 7-day forecast, 2 main events, if you will. The colder temperatures next week, preceded by a fairly vigorous storm late Monday into early Tuesday. That's out of the way, and at this point looks like we settled into a progression down in temperatures that will be in the 30s during the day, teens at nights, and we'll see down the line next week if we can squeeze out a little snow for our snow enthusiasts. And in case you were wondering, the Portland area has about a 75% chance, looking over the long-term records, of having a white Christmas. So we still have plenty of time, and the odds favor that.
Those are good odds.
They are. They're excellent odds. And farther west in the Mount Washington Valley, it's 90%. So.
Well, we know where to go if it doesn't show up here.
Exactly. Just go west.
And hopefully it doesn't feel like we have great chances yet, but that's just because we haven't seen any snow.
We'll get a ways.
Things can turn on a dime, as we know.
That's so true. All right. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks.